What if I told you this new model just took a feature we've only seen on far more expensive cars, and made it standard? And that's not even the wild part. Because in a segment where every brand claims to be smarter, faster, and more efficient, this car just introduced a twist that could genuinely shift what buyers expect in 2026. But is it really as impressive as the early buzz suggests, or is there something the spec sheet isn't telling us? Let's break it down, and you'll want to see the ending for this one. This car just introduced a twist that could genuinely shift what buyers expect in 2026. But is it really as impressive as the early buzz suggests, or is there something the spec sheet isn't telling us? Let's break it down, and you'll want to see the ending for this one. The car we're looking at today isn't just another new release, it's a strategic move from a brand that's been steadily reshaping its identity. Whether you know this name for toughness, luxury, performance, or innovation, this latest model shows exactly where the company believes the market is headed. Designed for drivers who want modern tech, cleaner performance, and a more refined everyday experience, it enters a segment that's been heating up fast in the US. Designed for drivers who want modern tech, cleaner performance, and a more refined everyday experience, it enters a segment that's been heating up fast in the US. What makes this launch especially interesting is how it blends familiar brand DNA with features we usually only see in higher-end competitors. It's clear the brand is aiming to stand out, not just blend in, and the early reactions suggest they might actually pull it off. And while everything on paper looks promising, the real question is how it holds up when you look beyond the marketing, because that's where things get revealing. We'll dig into the design, interior, performance, and value in just a moment, but first, let's set the stage for what this car is truly trying to be. The moment you walk around this model, you can tell the brand wanted it to make a statement. The exterior lines are sharper, more intentional, and clearly shaped to stand out in a parking lot full of safe, predictable designs. The front end carries a bolder identity, whether it's the slim LED headlights, the more sculpted grille, or the subtle aerodynamic touches that hint at efficiency without making the car look fragile. Even the wheel designs feel more purposeful this time, giving the whole stance a more planted, confident look. Step inside, and the changes become even more noticeable. The cabin leans heavily into modern minimalism, but without losing the everyday functionality that buyers depend on. Soft touch surfaces are placed where your hands naturally fall, the screens respond quickly with crisp graphics, and the new layout finally gives passengers the space they've been asking for. In higher trims, the ambient lighting, stitched upholstery, and upgraded audio system pull the interior experience closer to what you'd expect from a premium brand, not a mainstream model. Soft touch surfaces are placed where your hands naturally fall, the screens respond quickly with crisp graphics, and the new layout finally gives passengers the space they've been asking for. In higher trims, the ambient lighting, stitched upholstery, and upgraded audio system pull the interior experience closer to what you'd expect from a premium brand, not a mainstream model. Power comes from a setup that's been tuned for both smooth everyday driving and bursts of performance when you need it. Acceleration feels immediate but controlled, and whether you're merging onto a highway or navigating tight city streets, there's a noticeable boost in confidence. If it's an EV or hybrid version, the instant torque gives it a surprisingly energetic personality, while the improved battery or fuel efficiency makes it easier to live with day to day. If it's a gas-only model, the refined engine response and quieter cabin show just how much work has gone into making the drive feel more polished. Handling is another area where the updates show. The steering is more direct, body roll has been reduced, and the suspension strikes a better balance between comfort and control. You feel connected to the road without being punished by every bump. And depending on the trim, the available drive modes let you tailor the experience for economy, comfort, or a bit of spirited driving. Of course, no car is perfect. Some drivers might find the infotainment system slightly overwhelming at first, or wish the base model had more standard safety tech. Others might look at the projected pricing and wonder how it stacks up against competitors offering similar specs. And speaking of that, the comparison gets a lot more interesting once we break down what each rival brings to the table, because there's one surprising category where this model performs far better than expected. We'll get into that in the next section, especially the part that could change how you view its value for the money. But before we talk pricing, trims, and final recommendations, there's a standout feature that deserves a closer look, and it might be the car's biggest advantage yet. But the real turning point came in the handling section. This is usually where brands exaggerate their dynamic driving experience, yet here, the chassis actually lives up to the claim. The steering tightens up with a precision that makes cornering feel effortless, and body control stays surprisingly composed even when you push harder. If you're comparing two models side by side, this is where one of them clearly steps ahead, especially if the rival tends to feel floaty or disconnected when pushed. The steering tightens up with a precision that makes cornering feel effortless, and body control stays surprisingly composed even when you push harder. If you're comparing two models side by side, this is where one of them clearly steps ahead, especially if the rival tends to feel floaty or disconnected when pushed. Over rough pavement, the suspension softens the blow without losing control, making the ride noticeably smoother than you'd expect in this price range. It's the moment that tells you this isn't just a technical upgrade, it's a genuinely more enjoyable everyday car. All these impressions lead to one undeniable conclusion, but before we get there, we need to talk about trims, pricing, and who this car is really built for, because that final piece might change your entire perspective. After seeing how this model performs in the real world, the verdict becomes much clearer. This isn't just another new release, it's a genuinely well-rounded entry that delivers where it matters most. Its strongest advantages are the ones you feel every day: the confident acceleration, the smoother ride quality, the thoughtfully upgraded interior, and the modern tech that actually makes driving easier rather than more complicated. These are the traits that move a car from interesting option to legitimate contender in a crowded US market. Of course, it's not perfect. Some buyers may find the base trim a bit too light on features, the infotainment slightly overwhelming at first, or the pricing a touch ambitious depending on how competitors respond this year. And if you're cross-shopping with models that prioritize raw performance or ultra-luxury touches, you might notice the limits of what this segment can offer. But for most drivers, commuters, small families, or anyone wanting a modern and refined daily vehicle, this car hits a sweet spot that many rivals struggle to match. In comparisons, this model tends to shine in consistency. It may not dominate every category, but it rarely falls behind, and that balance is exactly what many US buyers are looking for right now. With the shift toward smarter tech, better efficiency, and more versatile design, this launch feels like a sign of where the market is heading. If other brands follow this formula, we could be looking at a wave of vehicles that prioritize real-world usability over flashy spec sheet numbers. So, is this the car you should buy? For the right driver, absolutely. If you value comfort, tech, and day-to-day usability more than extreme performance or status badges, this one deserves a serious spot on your shortlist. But now I want to hear from you. Does this model impress you, or do you think another brand does it better? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like if you enjoyed the breakdown, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dive reviews just like this one.